Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. Quick shout out to my newest patrons, Ezekiel G and Jim and Sydney R. Thank you for choosing to support the channel. Martin Vieca said he took a couple of Cybertrucks for investor test drives in New York City today. Now, sure, maybe it was retail investors, but Brooklyn is only about 40 minutes from the financial district, so this could certainly be Wall Street investors as well. The Italian authorities are negotiating with Tesla and other car makers trying to bring somebody into the country to help it achieve its goal of producing 1.3 million vehicles per year. Right now, the only automaker producing in Italy is Stellantis, and the word is they can't hit that number on their own. A minister did say, however, the interested producers are car companies that at the moment do not produce in Europe, which, strike one, Tesla does produce in Europe, but are looking at our market with interest and are aware that we will have to protect the internal market from the competition with trade measures like the US and with industrial measures, strike two. I'm aware there's a popular narrative out there that with all the pushback against Tesla's expansion in Berlin, they should just scrap that and go set up shop in some other European country. I really don't think that's going to happen. People are talking about that vote that just happened. At the end of the day, the government wants the expansion for Tesla. Tesla wants it, so I'm very confident in the end they will get it. Tesla is just one of many producers being negotiated with right now by Italy, and they are reporting that BYD has interest in making vehicles in Italy. The minister said these negotiations with Tesla have been going on for several months, and that during that time, Elon has visited Italy several times. The conversations have been very positive, but they didn't say what that meant. Here's Berlin and Germany, and just south would be Italy. It's the boot that juts out into the Mediterranean Sea. Fun fact, the Mediterranean Sea is among the world's busiest waterways, accounting for around 15% of global shipping activity. By far though, the best reason for Tesla to set up shop in Italy would be that his future wife, Giorgia Meloni, is the prime minister. Seriously though, they did meet last summer, but as far as this year goes, I would not be expecting any Tesla Italy announcement. The spring is oftentimes a popular time for consumers to buy a new car, and according to some Google search data in the US, the Model 3 dominates as the most searched car model in the last 6 months. It had more than 3.8 million searches from August last year to January 2024. Then right behind it with just over 3.6 million searches were the Honda CR-V and the Honda Civic. Here's a look at the top 10. The Model Y came in 5th, and clearly the Model 3 Plus refresh had a lot to do with this heightened search volume. Let me take us back in time real quick to a simpler time in 2017.
The point of doing this is to just give the hardcore smackdown to gasoline cars. Driving a gasoline sports car is going to feel like a steam engine with a side of quiche. And expected this to be available in 2020.
Yes, the sickness happened in 2020, but there's just no way around it. Elon loves to be optimistic with some of his projections. Before we come back to present time, in 2021, Zach said 1.1 second 0 to 60 miles per hour for the Roadster. Is it true? Elon said yes, with a SpaceX rocket thruster option package. It'll be safe but very intense, probably not wise for those with a medical condition, same as a hardcore roller coaster. And last night, in case you missed it, Elon said tonight we radically increased the design goals for the new Tesla Roadster. There will never be another car like this, if you could even call it a car. He added 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 1 second, and that is the least interesting part. Elon said this is a Tesla and SpaceX collaboration, and that production design complete and unveil end of year, aiming to ship next year. I will say, you can interpret this line right here, production design complete and unveil end of year. You could take that to mean the design is complete now, or the design is going to be complete by the end of the year, paired with the unveil. Either way though, that's somewhat irrelevant. We're hoping for an unveil toward the end of 2024 and maybe delivery sometime in 2025. I'll just say it, given that Tesla is not going to stop focusing on the next gen platform, I will not be surprised if we don't see deliveries of this vehicle until 2026. Elon is building up the hype though, saying, "I think it has a shot at being the most mind-blowing product demo of all time." When asked if it can fly a little, Elon responded with the eye emojis. The way I'm interpreting this is not as the Roadster is going to be some hover car, but with these rocket thrusters, potentially it does have enough power to lift the vehicle very slightly off the road, which means the impact of the tires could actually be slightly reduced in this scenario, because one of the common criticisms about Tesla being able to pull off a 0 to 60 time of 1 second is that the tires just won't allow it. As far as I could find online, there were a few different sources saying that the fastest car ever from 0 to 60 seconds was a Dodge Challenger SRT Demon, doing it in 1.66 seconds. Here's a quick look at the top 9 on that list. Keep in mind, at that unveil event back in 2017, Elon touted 620 miles of range and a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack. I'm seeing plenty of chatter about there. Why is Tesla wasting engineering resources on this vehicle right now? It's supposed to be the cherry on top, the dessert, but they still have all of these other things they need to focus on. Well, first of all, only the Tesla engineering team knows when the technology is going to be ready to hit the actual numbers they want to hit for this production version. 2, as far as we know, Tesla really only has one core design team, so this could actually imply that the next gen platform design is done or lost, and that now they're able to shift their focus back to the Roadster. I feel like it should be obvious by now, but the challenge is not with the design, it's with the manufacturing of said product, especially when Tesla is creating an entirely new manufacturing line. So that's most likely what they're spending most of their engineering resources on right now, building out the next gen production line using that unboxed method, figuring out how they're actually going to pull that off. So I'm pretty confident Tesla is not pausing or delaying anything with the next gen project. I'd also add, this is going to be an incredibly exciting project for the engineers to work on. Getting to build something that'll be a world first and creating a product that does something no other car in human history has ever done, that brings with it plenty of motivation and should get the creative juices flowing like none other. Plus, this advanced tech could flow down in some regards to other vehicles in the future. How about the marketing that this product has built into it? We see what's happening with interest in the Cybertruck. Well, here's another product that's going to generate the same, if not even more interest, because the design will most likely be appealing to a much wider audience than the Cybertruck. Don't sleep on the margins. They could certainly surprise us on the upside here, even at the lower volumes that are expected from the Roadster. And listen, gas cars served their purpose well for decades, but a new era is here, and personally, I'm ready to see this hardcore smackdown, and whether we see it before or after the next gen platform won't matter one bit toward the end of this decade. There was a time when the prevailing narrative around starting Tesla at all was crazy. And now we know it's not. As Elon said long ago, starting Tesla was idiocy squared. How about the Panasonic executives calling Tesla's Gigafactory idea crazy, and now they're not? People called the Cybertruck crazy, and it's already an iconic vehicle a few weeks into production. People thought trying to reuse rockets was crazy, and now it's not. I could go on and on, but the point is, people think the Roadster is crazy, a waste of time, a distraction, insert whatever critique you have. But I'm confident a time will come when the world will see that no, it was not actually crazy, but a super exciting chapter in the incredible story that is Tesla and Elon. One more crazy theme for you. I've seen a bunch of people saying, wait, didn't Tesla sell all of their Bitcoin? The answer is no. If you go to their 10K, you'll see at the end of 2023, Tesla has a carrying value for its digital assets, aka Bitcoin, of 184 million and a fair value of 487 million. Tesla bought $1.5 billion of Bitcoin in February 2021, and since then they have sold roughly $1.2 billion worth of Bitcoin, but of course the price has fluctuated during that time. We don't need to dive into the nuances here because last year FASB, or the Financial Accounting Standards Board, did actually change the accounting requirements when it comes to digital assets. That goes into effect in 2025. Some companies can adopt it sooner if they want to, but the point is those impairment losses will not have to be registered anymore. Going forward, it'll be much easier to track. They'll be using this fair value, which you can think of similar to market value. My point, given the run up in Bitcoin so far this year, Tesla is most likely sitting on a Bitcoin value over $500 million. There was a time when many people in the Tesla space said Tesla buying Bitcoin was a crazy thing to do. Now they have hundreds of millions of dollars in Bitcoin profits, most likely. Obviously, it doesn't really matter until they sell it to lock those in, but over the next few years, Bitcoin could of course run much higher. If I can encourage you to do two non-spiritual things, they would be: one, move more, and two, eat nutritious foods. This right here is a normal afternoon for me. I want you all to know anytime I talk about AG1, it's always in the context of being supplemental to also eating well. And for those times we get busy, travel, or just have no discipline, it can supply a baseline of nutrition. And look, I know a ton of people are now skeptical about this because of how many people are recommending it. I get it. But you know how people always ask Elon why for projects like Cybertruck and Roadster? He would probably answer, why not? Same here. If you have the funds, why not feed your body with 75 different vitamins and minerals each day? Cover any gaps you may have and not be aware of. AG1 does sponsor the channel, but I know firsthand when I spend money on anything wellness related, I make better choices because I don't like wasting money. I also happen to trust Huberman and Atia, so having them on the AG1 team solidifies AG1's science-based approach. So if you want to try it for yourself, you can use my link below to get 5 travel packs and a 1-year supply of vitamin D3 K2 for free. It's drinkag1.com/electrified. Enjoy. Hyundai is rushing to open up its factory in Georgia to regain access to these IRA tax credits. Its factory in Bryan County will produce up to 300,000 Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis EVs and batteries per year. Initially, they were looking at start of production in the first half of 2025, but now they just announced they're looking at start of production in the fourth quarter of this year. The investment amount has also been boosted over $2 billion up to $7.59 billion, and they're building 2 battery cell factories in Georgia in order to localize the value chain and qualify for subsidies. More countries around the world are now following in the United States' footsteps with the IRA. We have Spain and the Netherlands starting new incentive schemes for renewables and storage manufacturing. The first round of $811 million will be to incentivize the production of equipment and components for solar panels, batteries, electrolyzers, among other technologies. There will be future rounds for Spain, and no amount was given yet for the Netherlands. Polestar just raised $950 million in debt financing from a syndicate of 12 banks. Thomas Ingenloth said it's a big portion of the $1.3 billion that we see as required to reach the cash flow break-even point in 2025. Adrian in the Hat, our Giga Mexico drone man, said that Stella Lee, BYD's executive VP, was in Nuevo Leon talking to Samuel Garcia at his home. We already know BYD is looking for somewhere in Mexico to set up shop, so could it be next door to Tesla in Nuevo Leon? Lucid taking a page directly out of Tesla's book with its new creature comfort mode, aka dog mode. GM CFO has said that the new Bolt EV will save the company billions by becoming North America's first Ultium-based model to use LFP batteries. He said the new Bolt will provide an even better driving, charging, and ownership experience. Then Mary Barra just confirmed that it will be revealed next year. The old Bolt was by far GM's best-selling full electric vehicle, and now we're waiting on the Equinox, which is supposed to start around $35,000, but that's been delayed now a few times. I also unfortunately will not be surprised if GM launches that vehicle and then does what Ford did with the F-150 Lightning, where a few weeks after launch, they then raise the prices to where they want to keep them, really just so the months leading up to that time they could market it as starting at such an affordable price. If I was GM, I'd be doing everything in my power to get this vehicle into the market before Tesla is anywhere close to being done with the next gen platform, given that GM already has some brand equity in the EV space with the older variant of the Bolt. Shout out to Peter Blades, who just left Tesla for Skyrise, an aviation company. Peter was the lead interior designer for both generations of the 3NY, the Semi concept, and the Roadster. As a major sucker for interior cockpit vibes, I am very grateful for Peter's work. Tesla stock ended the day at $202.04 per share, up 1.16%, while the Nasdaq was down 0.55%, a feat that Tesla stock hasn't done in recent memory, being in the green while the Nasdaq's been red. Meanwhile, Polestar was up over 22% today on that news of the funding. Simply put, it alleviates some of those bankruptcy concerns. It was a low volume day for Tesla stock, trading about 8 million shares below the average 30-day volume. Don't forget, check out AG1 linked below. Speaking of that, as Elon would say, why not? Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Please like the video if you did. You can find me on X linked below. And a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.